next slide should show up here now. Wait. Okay. So I'm Ron Kashani, and I'm a Customer Success Manager here with Totango. I've been in the customer success space and account management for over 8 years. And a little bit about me. As you can see in the picture, I'm raising 2 lovely daughters and extremely busy with that. I love to cook, and I'm trying for some level of success to grow vegetables in my own backyard. Rest of the time, I'm helping customer to success here in Totango. So maybe some of you heard my name or work with me. I'm really excited to do this webinar for you. So what we're going to do today, we're going to talk about identifying upsell opportunities. We will touch different aspects of the upsell process from customer success point of view, of course. I will talk about the most common sales goals that customer success organization may get from the business. As you probably know, we are in charge of customer health, but the expectation may be much more than that. I will show you some example on how to identify upsell opportunities to find the answer for the million-dollar question, who from my customer base is ready for the upsell talk. After identifying our candidates, I will show you how to create a plan and follow up on it, and create some tasks and complete the work and bring the customer to the point that we actually upsell. And last but not least, I will share with you how to manage the information you gathered and track your team's performance from the management point of view, the team management. And obviously, we will leave some time for questions and answers. If you have any questions during the webinar, just put it in the chat window, and we will answer question at the end of the webinar. So, customer success and upsell. Customer success organizations often get involved with upsell and cross-sell activities. The constant interaction with customer and power users, along with insights on customer health, can be a great advantage in positioning an upsell. We have a lot of information we can get from the system that can help us to position an upsell, and it's a real power in our hands. Some customer success organizations will define that goal based on the CSM ability to make customer ready for upsell. In many ways, it means we need to maintain good health across the board and provide a good starting point for our account executives. So even if we're not doing the sales itself, we are providing the ground to our account executive to do that. Some customer success teams may even get some, quota targets in order to achieve negative churn instead of, counting how much we're losing from customers that are leaving, maybe to increase the revenue and sell more seats, increase adoption, maybe sell more services or products. We have the power to do that, and we definitely should aspire for that. So in order to do that, in order to identify those opportunities, we need to use some of Totango's list building capabilities to identify it. We will look for customers that see value in your product from day one, that are fully utilized the features, and are highly engaged. These accounts are more likely to upgrade and look to you for other services. As you can see here in this slide, there are some criteria that you can use in order to look for those specific accounts. And I'd like to move now and show you a quick demo on how to actually do that with the tool and give you some examples. So let me jump into the demo or demo environment. And you're probably familiar with this page in front of you. This is the main page, the My Portfolio page. And I'm going to jump to the account section in Totango. So what I'm trying to do now is to create a list that will filter or sort the accounts that are good candidates for an upsell. That's going to be the first step. So I'm going to create an account list here, and I'm going to jump into an account list that I already created. And let's look at the criteria of this list. So in order to build a list, you need to define filters. And those filters that you see here are basically good criteria for an account that has good chance for an upsell. So what did I look for here? I look for accounts that are in good shape. Obviously, we want to approach customers that are happy with our product and they're doing well. I also wanted to focus on a specific industry or vertical, and I'm looking for the finance sector at this point, but you can use all your customer base for this specific list. I also want to see which customers are using our product and utilizing our their licenses. So I look for accounts that use 60% of their licenses in the last 14 days. And I also want to look at accounts that are here working with us for the past year and not, new customers that probably not going to be interested in, increasing the license in the first year they are with us. So all those criteria that you can, choose from here, from the left, from the list on the left, and some others you have here on the bottom, you can definitely choose different criteria or adjust those and then get a list of accounts. Now, you can see in front of you the list of accounts and some columns here that will give you some information on each account, and you can play with that. You can adjust that view based on what you think is important for you. In order to do that, you just go to Edit Column here on the top, and you can choose, again, what kind of columns you want to have on the view. So I chose, what contract value and when this account was created, how many licenses they have, and how the utilization is in the last 14 days, and how is it changed in the last 30 days. And who is the success manager, which I also want to know as a manager. So as you see, we got a picture here that show me all the accounts, 21 accounts that has good chance for an upsell, and I can start acting to position an upsell. Now, the next step will be after identifying those accounts, is to do some actions to do that, to really do the upsell, to plan for an upsell. And for that, we have another great tool here in Totango that will help you to plan for an upsell and to follow up on your activities. So let's choose one of those accounts, and I'm choosing this one. Let me refresh the page. We played a lot of that. I'm going to do that again, and here we have the account profile for that specific customer that we found out that is a potential upsell opportunity. And I'm going to use my tool to create some tasks that will help me to upsell this account. So if you go here on the left, on the right on the top right, you have Add Task button. You can just choose what is the next step to do. And in this case, if we thought that this is a good candidate for an upsell, I can, for example, introduce our mobile app. Before we even talk about upsell, I want to introduce them with new features and things that I know they will be excited to see. I'm going to assign it to myself, and I put a due date for that for early next week to complete it. Another thing that I can do here, planning my upsell, is maybe to add a task to our account executive who is actually going to talk about the money and how much we're going to get from them, and tell him that, okay, we want you to schedule upsell call with the account exec, and I can assign it to that person. I can put a due date for, later next week at this task, and it's going to show up on his profile. He will get notification and react to it. If you scroll down and go to the task button here, you will see all the tasks that are assigned to this account. And as you can see, the list that I just created here, it can be more than that, of course. If you have different steps to do an upsell, you just go there and see what task you have. You can complete a task from here, add a touch point. It will go to the timeline of this account. I can click down, I can finish it, and it marked as completed here in the account profile. So that's the way for you to plan for an upsell. The next thing will be is to look from a customer success management perspective. How do I measure my team? How do I see their performance? And how can I get some reports based on the information that I'm getting from the list that I created? So for that, we have a section. We can actually go to the same list that we created for this account, and let's go back to the finance sector upsell list. As you remember, we created that list and we saved it, and now we can see all the accounts here. But what about if I want to see how many accounts here Robin or Cecilia has as customer success manager? And I want to track the numbers. I want to see how many everyone in my team has. And the way to do that is just grouping those accounts together. And the way to do that is to go to Edit Column here again on the top right button here, and group those results by customer success manager. You can try the other things later and see what you get, but this specific view will give you valuable information about your team, how many accounts they have, and keep in mind that we see only good health accounts because these are our candidates, but you can definitely make it wider and get all the accounts that are meeting our criteria, but maybe not in good health. Maybe you can help increasing their health in the future with minimal effort, and bring them to the point that you can actually upsell. So it's very easy. We can go back to Edit Filter, and we can include other accounts, or just remove that filter. And then you see all the potential in my organization. So that's a very strong way to see the data and track the performance. Of course, you can save it as a new list, give it a different name, and just save it in a folder or just in the root, share with everyone. and you have a list that you can actually track the performance. Another thing that we can do with the data that we gathered here is to create a report to see trend, or maybe a little bit different way to see the team performance. And for that, we go to reports, and we create a report that will use that list to see how we're doing overall on a period of time. We're going to add segment. The segment is basically the list that we just created. So if I go back to the finance sector upsell list that I created, I'm going to change the color because I like green. And you see all the criteria that we made earlier. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to put it in a perspective of a quarter, not 30 days. And now you can see the trend of all of our opportunities over time. And that can be very valuable for management. In addition to that, we can add more components to slice the data to see how the team is doing, or what the distribution of these accounts per segment. And for example, let's choose to segment it by customer success, and maybe create date, and maybe we can add also contract value. And you will see that here in the bottom. Cecilia is doing very well. We wish that the rest of the team will do the same. But as a manager, I have really strong view on how my team is doing. I can also play with the breakdown. I can edit the breakdown and change the interval for $10,000, for example, for the contract value. And then you see the segmentation. You can edit the breakdown for the creation date yearly to see that customers that are with us since 2013 are more likely to be a candidate for an upsell. So you can play with that and add some other segments based on the data that you have in your Totango instance. I think that's about it. We showed you some very useful tools that you can use to position an upsell, and we will be ready to take any question you may have.
Thank you, Ron. That was a wonderful overview. So we do have some questions coming in, and if you guys think of some others, please feel free to type them into the window, and we'll be happy to respond if we have the time. So the first question, Ron, is how can I customize the list for each of my CSMs?
Oh, this is a great question, and of course I was talking about how my team is doing, but what about if I'm the customer success manager and I want to see how my accounts are doing? So in this case, and it's very easy to do, let's go back to the list that I created that is shared with everyone. If you remember that there is a way to share the list with the entire team, or just use it privately. It's here in the settings, shared with everyone. So we need to make sure that the list is shared with everyone, and then each person that goes and look at that list can hit that button here on the left and change it from all to my accounts. Well, unfortunately, I don't have accounts here in this demo environment, so we don't see any account here that is assigned to me. But if I had, then I would see only my accounts that meet that criteria. Another important thing, if we're talking about, getting those, getting notifications, or maybe looking more into letting me know that these accounts are meeting the criteria, we can create list of triggers. And here you see the light sign here And if you click on it, you have an option to notify somebody when an account enters that list. I can put myself here, or I can put my group, that every account that entered that list will get notifications. That's how I can actually manage it. I need to save the list and then move the button to active on triggers in order to have those triggers notification. Another way to get updates on that list is to subscribe to that list, and you will get a daily email with a link to that list that you can see, what changed, and a summary of the accounts that entered that specific filter. So I hope it answered that question.
Great, thanks, Ron.
Yeah.
So we have another question. So someone's asking if there is a way to somewhat automate the process of setting up the criteria for upsell and then getting the team already set up to execute as far as what they need to do when they have an upsell opportunity. Is there something that's available?
So this is also a very good question. We are really close to release a tool that calls automation. You will see it here in a couple of weeks. You will be able to trigger creation of tasks based on specific conditions. So it's coming up. It will be out for beta testing at the end of this week and will be released in the next few weeks. And if you have more questions around it, or you want to hear more about that, just contact your customer success manager individually, and they will love to chat with you about that and show you some examples and maybe insight on how this thing going to work. But definitely we're going to be able to create a bunch of tasks based on a workflow or a condition that will meet that specific criteria. So yes, it's coming very soon.
Great, thanks, Ron. So there's another question. Someone's asking if there's other interesting ways to identify upsell opportunities outside of using the license utilization. Would it be something that they would send?
Yeah, so every customer can have different criteria. It's up to you how your customers, how do you see your customers getting better and ready to have this talk. So if I go back to what I talked before about what are the criteria for an upsell, so there are different things other than license utilization. This is not the only one. You can create some criteria around how much time this customer is with us. Sometimes, if it's in good health and it's with us for like 4 years, maybe we need to have this talk because, they're happy. They renewed with us for several times already. And we want to see how, we can maybe leverage that and have them using more our system. You can also create filters, and there are endless possibilities here for a specific activity that the user are doing or a specific module that the customer is using that you think will indicate good usage and potential opportunity for upsell or to add services. If customer is doing one thing and you think that if he's doing it, he will potentially want to do some other thing, you should add it to this criteria. And I really encourage you to talk to your customer success manager, and maybe by looking at your data, you can together find those criteria and add it to a list that will filter those accounts for you. So there are many options here, and just go and play with it. You will find your way, I'm sure.
Great, thanks, Ron. And again, if anyone has any more questions or if you think of something that is specific to your needs, feel free to work with your customer success manager directly, and they'll be happy to assist you in helping you define your upsell opportunities with Totango. Just wanted to remind you, we do have 3 more webinars that are coming up in the next series. The next one is scheduled July 9th, and we'd be happy to see you there. This is all we have for you today. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.